What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. In this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening to the news so far that's affecting Tesla, what's happening with the economic calendar, and what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I bring anything down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. So I'm recording this video at about 6 o'clock in the morning for my time here in the West Coast. And sorry if I sound kind of quiet, but I'm going to be talking about Tesla stock and these different tickers and what's happening with the Cybertruck event. Right now, the market has popped a little bit thanks to the PCE data reports and initial jobless claims, but now we're starting to cool off at the same time. So how is the data looking? How could this affect Tesla and what's happening with the Cybertruck? Let me first talk about the news. So some data came out that's affecting the market overall. And the PCE data, everything was basically aligned with expectations or a bit below expectations, which was bullish. Initial jobs claims was as expected, which is once again bullish. And then we have some Fed speakers later on, and the Chicago PMI coming out 15 minutes after market open. Not to mention at 11:30 we have the 4-week and the 8-week bill auctions coming out. So at 11:30 we have some auctions. Not to mention at 9:45 a.m. we have the Chicago PMI. All this data is still coming out. Thus far, the data has been decent. Now for tomorrow, as a reminder, do not forget, we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, lots of manufacturing data in the morning. And then we also have Jerome Powell giving a speech. Just wanted to remind you guys about that for tomorrow. This could shift the market. Today is Thursday, November 30th, the last trading day of the month. This is going to be quite significant, so we'll see how the market does. And don't forget, tomorrow is going to be December 1st. So once again, with this happening, the yields are still kind of like dipping, still holding at the lower levels, but we'll see if we get a bounce on the yields, especially after Jerome Powell gives his speech tomorrow. We're going to be watching to see what he says about the economy. We're going to be watching to see how this affects yields and monetary policy and what Powell tries to say this time around. So make sure you're prepared for that. Make sure you're ready. There's some funny news involving Elon Musk that came out. He was reacting to the things that were said about him. Very interesting stuff. There's also news involving Nvda, as they're once again anticipating more growth after they've seen their revenue more than triple. They're going to continue to see high projections and strong guidance, which is good news for them. On top of that, we're seeing some new news about Ford that's coming out. And once again, they're going to be reinstating their guidance for 2023, lowering the outlook just a little bit for earnings and free cash flow, unfortunately. So that's pretty much it for now when it comes to major headlines thus far. Let's talk about the Cybertruck delivery event. It's going to be happening today, November 30th, and most reports are saying it's going to be at 2 p.m. Central Time, right? 2 p.m. Central Time or 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You could also live stream it on X. So you could go, I think, on Tesla's Twitter page, not Tesla's, but I think on somewhere on near the Cybertruck Twitter page, you can actually see a live stream for the event. There's like a broadcast on X. I'm sure you'll be able to find it either on Tesla's Twitter page or on the Cybertruck Twitter page. But it's out there, guys. Make sure you just look for it. I can actually show you guys it later on. For now, I just wanted to mention that it's going to be at 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And make sure you guys are ready for this. There's a lot of hype. And there should be a live stream somewhere on the Cybertruck Twitter page. I'll find it later on. Anyways, when it comes to Tesla, Tesla's looking kind of decent right now. Watch support at 242.5. Watch resistance at 247. That appears to be our range for the time being. We might see a range trade for a bit, and then we'll be watching to see what Tesla does approaching the event. I think that whether we get some kind of pop or not, I don't think it really matters, because I think that ultimately Tesla's going to return to like 238. I think it has this imbalance to fill. I think Tesla's going to come back down. You could even argue that this is forming kind of like an inverse cup and handle. I don't really see it that way. So I'm thinking that it could range trade for a bit, maybe just continue to hover around this area approaching the event. I think investors are just going to be waiting. And then after the event, we could see a sell off. So I still anticipate it's a possibility. Also, going into Friday, I think that we have these imbalances below to fill. So I just wanted to warn you about that when it comes to Tesla. So make sure you watch your levels and you remain as calm, cool, and collected as possible. I also want to add that if you want to turn bullish on Tesla, we need to try to break this high right here. If it manages to break out, which I don't really, anticipate, but if it does end up happening, that it could turn bullish. As of right now, there's no sign of that. And I just think that it's going to range trade for a bit. And then we're going to see a big reaction after the event. But make sure you watch your levels just to be safe. And I still anticipate some downside in the future. On SPY, we have a possible left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder forming from this pop and drop like pattern. We could try to push thanks to all this economic data. If we get a decent Chicago PMI, it could try to push it higher. It does not matter to me, however, because ultimately I see downside. I still think SPY is going to start selling off tomorrow. I still see downside for the start of December. Uh, I think that if we do get another pop, you're going to be watching 456.4 to 456.5, 457, 457.5, and then 458 as resistance. Watch support at 455, 454, and then we have these wicks right over here around 454 and then 453.5. I think that it could pop a little bit more, kind of hover up here, and then eventually it's going to sell off. So even if we do get some kind of pop, I think we're ultimately going to see downside, and I still hold the same view as before. So anticipate like a pop and a drop or a drop from here. And I still think we may see some downside nonetheless. So I'm still leaning in that direction. Just want to make that as clear as possible. There's ultimately going to be downside coming. Could we pop a little bit thanks to the data? Yes, we could. Could try to hover up here, but I don't trust the move. I still think there's going to be the move to the downside later on. I still hold that view. On the QQQ, it's no different. And possible slants head and shoulders. If they try to push it, watch 391. If we break this high, we have 392 right here, which is where we have this liquidity area. Watch liquidity up here, and we have 393 above that. They could try to push us towards the imbalance in 392, so we could get like another pop. But I think ultimately we're going to fall back down to 387. I think it's going to happen over the next few days. We could pop here and there, but eventually there's going to be downside. I hold the same view on the QQQ. Nothing has changed thus far. If we look at Nvda, Nvidia is in a very critical state because we have a potential flag forming on it and we have this channel. Nvidia could try to pop. If it breaks 485, there's going to be some hope for bulls to try to push it back up. If it fails to break 485 and we end up breaking down below 480, it's going to look a lot more bearish. As of right now, we're kind of stuck at 482. If we try to fill this gap down here, if we lose 480, we're going to likely fill the gap and turn more bearish. I think that it's looking a little weaker, but there's no sign of it breaking down yet. It's still kind of range bound. It's on the lower half of this range, which looks a little bit weaker. Could pop a bit, but let's see if this thing can try to get above 485 and then 488. If it fails to hold or close above 485, anticipate a rejection and some downside. And I still think that's going to happen. I think we're going to be retesting 480, then 474. Look for a pop and drop or drop from here. I still think it's very possible. I just want to call that out. I'm still leaning a bit more bearish overall. Aapl could pop, okay? But one thing worth noting is that it kind of failed. It's struggling to break above 190. If it does break out, we have this imbalance at 191. So it could be a pop on Aapl, but I think ultimately it's going to come back down. So look for a little pop between 190 and 191. But I think it's going to fail eventually going into tomorrow and beyond. And we still have this bigger head and shoulders up here. We have a left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder here. Could pop a bit, then reject or reject very soon. And I still hold the same view. My view hasn't changed. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Hopefully this video was helpful and insightful. Get ready for the Cybertruck event. Once again at 2 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you're ready, you're prepared. I can't wait to see how this affects Tesla. All right, Tesla's a little green in the pre-market. It's kind of trading flat, but we'll see what it does as time goes on. Might just continue to remain flat for some time before we see a potential move to the downside, possibly after the event or later on. I still hold that view, but we'll see if we can get a pop approaching the event first, and then after the event, that's when things could start changing and turning more bearish. Just wanted to call that out again. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, because the long term is still very bright despite these short term fluctuations, and peace out.